Morning, Bill.
Morning. How are you?
I'm good.
Oh,
You're the only one here so far.
yes, so I say.
I think others will be coming eventually.
Yeah.
You want to come to World Tai Chi Day Saturday?
No, I can't. We'll be celebrating our anniversary
Ah,
over in New York State.
nice. How many years have you been married?
17.
Ah,
So,
I hear Joanne.
yeah, the voice carries.
No kidding.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to move.
Okay.
All right, here we are.
Congratulations.
We're in a loaner car. I feel like we're going very slow today, are we?
We're in a loaner car? Oh,
Carol was in a loaner car. I was running late. We're all like, hey, 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 hey. Good morning.
good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Joanne. Good morning, Carol.
Hi, Bill. Woo.
Hi, Carol. How are you this morning?
Let's just say I'm glad it's not my turn.
Oh, thanks, Carol.
Well, I got up at 5, woke up with a headache.
Oh,
Oh,
So it was okay. Am I going to lie here with my head hurting? Or am I going to get up and move and that
do
helps?
something. Yeah, I would guess sometimes that is.
But it's
Yeah.
I took one of John's headache pills because
That is better than your headache pills.
well mine had expired
Here
years ago.
comes Bill.
So you don't
Yeah.
get headaches that
I
often.
don't get far often.
all
Morning,
right.
Bill.
Morning, Bill.
Hurting a lot.
Good morning.
It's not hurting a lot
Oh,
right
good.
now, but it's
Still there.
Shadow of it is still there.
Still there.
Wearing Peaceful Wolf.
Oh, this is a vintage one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They
It's-
last.
So it's Tai Chi Day on Saturday.
Yes, it is.
Is it? It's still in Colchester.
Uh huh.
At what time does it start?
10.
10. You going?
I have no idea. You want to go?
Maybe, maybe not. I'm gonna try. Yeah. Matt Wiedenheft is coming by and getting large drink containers because he's working. I don't know. He's working with Jonas. He's in New London. He said they're kind of planning to bring tea and warm tea and maybe make something. So I'm just lending them lots of our cooking gear. So they'll be at the house at noon, or he will, picking stuff up. So, but that kind of put it on my radar screen. So noon at Colchester. How long does it go during the day? I never get to stay the whole time.
Probably till about 3.
Okay.
now. Used to be 4, but usually now it's been.
It's also going to rain, so there's an indoor space. I heard rain on Saturday.
No, I hadn't heard rain.
I think I went one. I didn't go one year because it was raining, but there was an indoor space.
Yeah, we
like
were at the
Grange or
church.
something, or the church across the
Cat
street.
corner across there.
Yeah.
Very overcrowded.
Yeah, I would bet. Yeah. Let's see.
There is a big tent this year.
Oh, so if it's just showers, that would be
Yeah, so then probably that would be all right.
okay.
We'll see. Got to flow with the.
You got to flow the flow.
Particularly when it's rain.
There's nothing. Yeah, I mean we need the rain, so.
Okay. questions? Reports?
I found it very helpful last week as thinking about rounding here. I feel like 3 is still a challenge on rounding. Somehow, in terms of like from 5 to 6, I found it really helpful to kind of think about moving out a little. But I still feel with 3 that it's hard. I feel like there's another one of those little hints, like it's just too easy to jut out and not. But at the same time, as I was trying to round, I felt like I was just making a weird oblong that wasn't quite what the intention of moving out was. So I think that's my.
Well, don't worry about, let's say oval, not oblong.
Okay.
Oval is okay. It has a spherical quality, so.
Oval, yes.
So the oval is okay, and you really have to get that to come from the dantian.
Yeah, I've been working on trying to, okay, if I try to think about what my back and my is doing, it's just
Too much.
too much. Let's just try to just focus on the dantian and then make that a circle and
I feel like I have that. I that's not to me the challenge. To me, the challenge was 2 things. One is to make sure that I don't cross my hands over.
Yeah.
across
But the other is to make sure I'm not just jutting out and coming back in. And that's more. That's what I meant by kind of when I try not to do that, it gets to be just that kind of weird. What am I doing, right?
Well,
I mean,
it'll be
is
better.
it better to go a little up? Is it better to, yeah, right, just kind of what.
I'll understand better when I see you.
Okay.
But that movement here is one in which you're thinking of extending,
Yeah.
and the arms are not
Jutting, yeah.
doing this
Right.
at all.
Yeah.
There is more of an expansion than there is a pushing out.
And then moving. Okay, keep going. Do that,
So-
and then yeah.
So you want to go to the top,
And then
so
you
you-
just move up. Yeah.
but it comes back down and then out
Yep.
again.
And then down.
And it's
yeah.
just really important. To me, the word that worked in that movement is out, not up. So it's very easy to fall into getting to here and going up, straightening the weighted leg. And that's not it. You're extending through the whole body
From the other.
from the
yeah,
other
from the
side.
other side.
Yeah.
and then the rounding is just that tiny little bit that Bill put in
Yeah.
at the end. So it was
Right,
so
that's what I'm
clear
still
to
trying
me,
to. I think I'm
the difference.
Yeah.
Just that little teeny,
Yep.
It's down, or it's yeah.
or just
You just have to find how.
I'm still struggling with that. I guess
You know,
I know that.
it's important not to get stuck with the extension.
I know.
That's-
Oh,
That's really, it's easy. It's why the exhale often leads to a pause before the inhale, because that's a very common issue when we begin to talk about getting the breath to be spherical and circular and overlap. We can get inhale to exhale, inhale. Often that happens, and that here, because we are still at this point aligning a lot of the movement with the breath, when you go out here, you have to be sure that you just keep it going.
yeah, yes.
Get right into that inhale and that outhale, and then into that inhale. So that it's just.
Yeah, it's funny how within this practice, different ones become challenging, and then you're like, okay, I got it, and then because we're adding another layer or we're more aware, it's like, oh, that one's challenging again. How did that happen?
I know how to
I
do
thought
this.
I had that one.
Well, as you begin to know a little bit more about each one,
Oh,
yes.
yeah, that's right. Each one
Yeah.
becomes another, like, oh. I hadn't
Yeah,
thought about
oh,
that
there's
one.
a little more I need to know there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's helpful, but
We'll see.
we'll see.
Other people.
Would you talk, David, a little bit with the shoulder blades? So I've done a couple of things since last week was excellent for me, uh, too. And the one thing that I, especially not when I'm condensing, not getting my hands closer together, was one point that you made. And but with the breathing, I think I was my exhales were more complete than they should be, which made, you know, exhausting your lungs. Not really totally, but I've been breathing a little more shallowly, and it makes the transition feel more rounded, um, if that makes sense. But I was thinking with the going out with the shoulder blades, I've been thinking shoulder blades separating and elbows coming up a little bit for the going out. Is that appropriate for both? Or
Well, yes, there is that, but it's important not to lose the extension that goes all the way through the fingertips. So the shoulder blades are really important, and I guess this came up in another class. um, you don't. Yes, the shoulder blades are involved, but what you're really looking for is that the energy is flowing from the spine through the fingertips, and that the energy is flowing from the fingertips into the spine. So it you want the movement of the shoulder blades, but only as part of the whole movement.
yeah, well, you're straightening out the C curve also as you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you want, as always, we're looking for coordination of the entire body. Good old Master Joe's whole body movement. It if you get just into the shoulder blades, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You've got to get the rest of
Yeah.
it too.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right. The shoulder blades are certainly involved. I'm not suggesting they're not. They go
Right.
out and they go in and they go out.
And they're connected.
And they're connected. They're
Yeah, they
through the whole system.
yeah, you can't move the shoulder blades without
Having a spine.
moving something else. Right.
Yeah. What I was running into in another class was that somebody was really focusing on the shoulder blades and getting wonderful movement of shoulder blades, but nothing was happening out here.
Uh-huh.
And that's easy to fall into when you work on developing one particular element. I'm just cautioning against
Okay.
losing.
So we shouldn't
track of
become
the entire movement.
So we don't want to be like shoulder blade specialists.
Right. Exactly.
The beginning and the end.
Did that answer
Yes.
what you needed, Bill?
Yes. Thank
Mr.
you.
Nagel, anything for you?
No, I've got everything completely under control. So.
You lie. Very
Yeah.
well.
I illustrated that very well yesterday. So
Uh-huh. Okay.
I have a question about the breathing in 7.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
Is it inhale, exhale? Or is it exhale, inhale? And the way I've been doing it is I'm doing it one way, so we do the 10 and the 10. So one way I do it, and the other side I do it the other way because I'm not sure which is the right one and I'm not sure which feels better.
interesting. Yeah. Well, I think for a lot of them, you can. Yeah.
Yeah. So, at this stage, it is inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale.
Okay.
At what point does it change? I'm not doing anything a little different.
Well, breathing is something that I was going to
Go away to
go into starting next week.
next week. We've all now that one. Yeah. Okay.
But you've all been with me for quite a while and have gone through a number of stages.
Yeah.
So one of the things is to get the breath so that it initially get the breath so it is full and slow and you have a relatively equal inhale and exhale, except where it is
Except for 3.
not equal, like 3. In which
Right.
case you have to learn how to make that work. And that the breath is circular, that it doesn't have any pause
Yeah. I know.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Once you have that, then eventually we move to what Master Joe called breathing without breathing,
Mm-hmm.
which some of you will have heard before, maybe all of you, I'm not sure. Actually, all of you here probably
Yeah,
have.
I think we've done it.
We've got it.
At which point the breathing is no longer the movement of the body is no longer dependent on the breath. The breath is independent of the movement, and the focus becomes on the energy. The breath and the movement of the body are so ingrained that you are no longer thinking about either of them at all.
We're not there yet.
No.
Yeah, I was thinking reverse breathing, but no, you're talking breathing without breathing.
Yeah. Which can also be reverse breathing.
Yeah.
I was not saying
No, it's just
absolutely. Yeah. But
it's a step beyond.
Getting to that stage of breathing without breathing is really it's difficult because our mind doesn't want to let go of it, aligning the breath with the movement, because
Yeah.
so much of what we've done
That's
has been
been
aligned. But if you think of any Tai Chi form, there is no way that movement could be aligned with the breath.
You
All of
can't.
it. What?
hyperventilating.
Right. I mean, the movement of the energy in and out can no longer possibly be related directly to the breath.
Yeah, but grasping the sparrow's tail and
Yes.
woo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Keeling over.
So eventually, yes, you have to move to that level of practice. But first you have to have an absolutely smooth, full breath that has no pauses whatsoever, because that's the same breath that you do in breathing without breathing. It's just that you don't pay any attention to it, don't have to pay any attention to it. Joanne? You can't escape.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I feel much better.
I was going to say, how was your
My knee has been kind of okay, but I have had to keep going back to the doctor for blood pressure problems in the last few weeks. So and part of that is that I'm really retaining water.
Dave Oat is having
So I
blood
think-
pressure problems. Dave Oat is having blood pressure
Yeah,
problems.
I mean, she keeps increasing my medication. She did that again yesterday, and so part of the problem I think is that I'm really retaining water, and so that affects everything in terms of your affects your energy flow. It affects your knees because they're heavy in a way that
You don't have a pacemaker, I
no, I know. Yeah. No. I've always held water though. I mean, I had terrible edema when I was pregnant with my kid. So,
Yeah.
but this has been going on for too long, for several months now.
Yeah. Make sure you're in a position where that pole does not get in your way in any
Or
way.
in your way, I wanna. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out
I
how to
can
do
do
it
it if you want to be over here. I can go sit over there and you can.
just so that we're.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea because then the pole's not there. Should probably, yeah. It's gonna be my way. Where are we here? Does that work for everybody? Yeah.
That's good for us.
That's good. Yeah.
So I'm going to interrupt you already.
Okay, that's how we
So
learn.
the stepping out is you're doing one possibility, but what we basically want to do is this, so that you do have this spiraling down
Mhm.
into one foot, and what is interesting here is that that's what drives the other foot. So the timing in that step is to get onto that other foot so you can drive that out with that downward movement, and then you can come into center in whatever position you want.
Let's try that.
Yeah.
A little
Better.
too fast, maybe. But
That's all right. But okay, so pause a moment. And that's actually quite good. Where do you feel the energy moving?
I feel it both in the center channel here, and I feel it going out, particularly here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel it coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been trying to really feel it the whole body
Yeah.
into the 5 points. Sometimes I'm more aware of that than I was right now, but
But the bending and extending and twisting all looked pretty good. It's a little difficult for me to tell about lengthening, but that's another thing I want to work on.
yeah,
Also, but we'll. Your timing was slightly off in the first couple of.
that that's my biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Is slowing down and slowing it down evenly, because I used to
Yeah.
kind of go ah.
Yeah. But
Probably
you
all did that a little bit.
but you got it.
You just need to keep practicing what I.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, in the third and fourth times you did it, it was quite good.
Mhm.
It-
I do notice that in my practice. I thought this morning I should do this before I got in the car, so I maybe I didn't have time.
That is
But life got in the way.
That's good. Okay. So, do
But it's
ba-
good. Good to hear.
yeah, do whatever you want of 2 and go into 3. Okay. So, I'm definitely seeing the pause out there.
See, I just.
You're right about
I am. Yes. Yeah.
And but the thing that I'm noticing is that once you have gone out here
Mhm.
to the side, that you're going down. Your body is going down as you're coming supposedly up. So what I'm saying is, you know, you're here
Mhm.
and you're gone to here, and here you're going down and then out, rather than when you get to here, this goes up, and the C curve is very small, very subtle at the top. You can't get the same C curve there that you do at the bottom. So
So
So-
I should be.
you've got to find if you take the C curve away for a moment, you have to find how do you get that circle here so that
So you're not just making a smile back and forth.
right. Exactly.
It's funny. I didn't have a perception of doing that.
Yeah. So try it again.
Yep.
See if you can be a little more circular there.
Mhm.
Spherical, ideally.
Yes.
and see if you can find how to round the corner after you've done the extension.
Yeah.
So you still need to round the corner out there. You're getting rid of the pause, but it's out.
Right. And that's yeah.
But going down is better than coming up.
Yes. Which is interesting because that's the reverse for most people. Don't go down at the top.
But I'm not. But it's the movement is not this. But
No, but
because right here it's my body moving down, my body moving up. But then yeah, this is
so
But it's
so
out.
the thing. So you set up, and it's not up. It's out.
it's out. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So when you get to here, there is no movement like this. I just went up, because then what are you going to do? all you can
Then
do
you
is do
go
this
across.
or go down, which is I think what's happening to you.
Okay.
So you have to get to out,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have a little up.
Mm.
Yeah, that's
Still struggling with that.
yeah. No,
I
no.
get
I
what
can-
you're
but I
saying.
can
That's
see
it.
it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can see the up there.
Yeah.
This
I'm,
one.
I'm beginning to get it. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing I would say is that remember that in this, the inhale is longer than the exhale.
Mm-hmm.
In
Mm-hmm.
3. You're making them pretty even.
Mm. Yeah, I have been.
So remember that when you go to the right, you're breathing into the liver, and when you go to the left, you're breathing into the spleen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's definitely better. Give
I
you
gotta
something.
work on it.
Yeah, there's stuff to work on there. So do the transition into 4. That's good. What I would say is remember that as you're coming down, that you want to get the twisting, the bending to go all the way through to the dantian. Not your tendency is to go a little bit quicker here, and I can see you trying to still keep something going, but if you make it go slowly all the way down, it's a lot easier.
So the goal is to not only be here, but to have the hands at this.
But to have finished that twisting in
Okay.
at this point,
and
and then have the twisting out, and then up. Yeah. So the other thing that I would say is remember that 4 is not as far forward as 2.
Mm-hmm.
So being aware that the 2 is like
Way out. Yeah.
is here, but 4 has come in a little bit. So I feel like you're still doing the same. Yeah, see, you're going, and it needs to be more towards the sides. You're not clear at the sides yet, which is 5 and 6.
More toward. Yeah, I'm not sure what I am doing or not doing. Okay. It's okay.
So what I'm saying is, instead of going like
I
this,
see. Uh-huh.
you want to go like this.
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, better.
No,
Good.
yeah.
Good. Good. Now transition to 5. No. That was not the transition to 5.
Okay, wait a minute. Where am I now?
Well, do another 4.
I'll do another. Yes, I have to definitely do No.
No. You're right. So what was wrong?
I don't know.
So you are mistaking bending and twisting in for condensing. So you're quite right. You get to this point, and this movement is the same basic movement that's happening here, but now you're condensing. You're not.
Okay.
So that you still have that sinking.
And I'm not going down as far. You didn't go down as far
No,
as I did.
no. Actually, the movements at 5 and 6 can be that condensed amount. They're not as big as 2 and 4.
So do that again. Do that again. Sorry.
The transition? Sure. So you're condensing, and the twisting and bending is still going on, but then you continue, and the first one's going to be a little different
Than what we're aiming for. in
than
the
what
others.
you're aiming for, because now you can, the second time, you can go into the okay. So the going the what I'm feeling is that you're ending up here, and that part of the movement probably in
Oh,
5
yeah.
should be a little further down.
Begin. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think
So
I think I am, but I'm not normally. Yes, I hear what you're
Oh,
saying.
okay.
Yeah, I just kind of taking it all in. You're right. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's here, right? Because it's it's still about 50-50, right? Just depends on.
What's 50-50?
We're going in here. Yeah. So obviously we're not changing there.
No, you're right. It's going in,
Yeah.
and then it's going out, and you're going. You
Yeah.
want to get what you're looking
Yeah.
for is the energy going all the way down the side
Yeah.
channels. And where the arms end is when the energy arrives at the claw.
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
into the dantian and up the central channel.
Yeah.
But you have to keep sinking all the way up the central channel. So you're sinking. It's up now. It's going down. Yeah.
The energy is going down, but
Yes.
your body is
But your
rising.
body is going. Yes.
Yeah. At this point, I mean, certainly this is true of all the postures, but in 5 and 6, you are looking to really feel what's happening with the energy here, because we have a number of things going on, but basically we have that cycle of up the center, down the sides,
Yeah.
up the center, down the sides, up the sides and down the center. And that's the first thing to get established. Everything else is going on too. I mean, it's not, you know that.
I know that.
I'm not telling you what you don't
No,
know.
but no. But where do you want me to start now?
I want you to try
Back to
5
4.
again.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. So I'm gonna do 4 again.
Okay.
Just to- I know. I can't. It's like you can see me shaking my head. No, it's like.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I did.
What am I doing?
When you start to come down is when
Yeah.
you start to condense, and so the movement begins to get smaller and
Mhm.
smaller and smaller and smaller. So you still have some sinking. You're pushing your body too far. So I don't know, can I? What's happening is, as you're coming down, you're doing the same movement you normally do. And now you've got to do something else to get up.
Yep, that's what I'm doing.
So when you get to this point, this movement has to, you're beginning to do less. It's
Mm.
not going away,
Okay.
but it's less. So you still have something to do here without it being too much. And then you can go into the movement.
Right, for the
You know, the transition is not identical here to the movement you do.
I hear, no, I understand what you're saying there.
Yeah.
I just have to keep,
Okay. I won't, I don't think you necessarily have to do it again. I think you understand.
well, and I have, I have you on tape, right?
Yes, you do.
Oh my
I
God.
am recording. So,
Do you want me to,
yeah, I want you to do 6.
oh yeah, no, I assume. I know I'm not done. I'm aware. I'm aware. All right, let's see. Yeah, I need to.
Do a 5.
Good Lord. Do a 5.
Okay, so you got to round that transition.
Round it more. Yeah. See, that was a round from what I had been doing.
Aha.
You just don't know how bad I had been.
Okay.
Okay. All right, that's it.
Keep going. I'm
You
just
need
trying
to
to.
see what I'm doing?
I'm trying to see what you're doing
Uh-oh.
with that.
Isn't that odd?
So, well, since we've
Okay.
stopped,
Okay.
when you make that transition here,
Mm-hmm.
find a way to round it.
To
I mean,
round
you
it
can go
more
this way or this way. I mean,
Well, this is the way that
um,
feels better. Okay.
yeah. So that there is a real rounding there.
Mm-hmm.
Expand, rotate up, drop the elbows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm doing too much with the hands.
You were tending more in this direction,
I was.
which was pushing
I
the
did.
elbows out. So you want to drop the elbows and let the wrists
Mhm.
connect, and that twisting in is small down
Mm.
through there. You don't have a lot of possible rotation there, but there is. You can. What's happening? We're not interested in the size of the physical movement, but what's happening inside,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so that you're drawing the energy down and then expanding it out and up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And one of the things that's kind of difficult with 6 is that you're going out here, and this is coming in, in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, David?
Oh no, no! I'm thinking you're doing just fine. This is just
No, I'm fine. No, this is what we need. We all need this. We all have different
yeah,
things that we need.
yeah.
pointed
And I'm
out.
sure everybody's learning.
Oh,
This
well,
is
hopefully,
fun.
I learned from the last three, so I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No. I don't,
Yeah.
yeah.
So 6 and transition into 7.
Ooh. 6 in transition. Okay, wait.
Okay. For one thing, your neck is frozen.
Mm.
It's not the you want a the neck has a movement that's going with the spine. It's not that
Not
the
that
neck
right.
is
Okay.
held in
Mhm.
place with the spine.
Better.
And I also feel you're rushing.
Yeah.
And this one it's really important, I think, to find that slowness
Mm-hmm.
where how slow can you do this and keep the breath smooth and reasonably comfortable? Because I think one of the keys to getting this particular movement is slowing it down
Mm-hmm.
and feeling what's happening.
Yep.
Questions?
I don't think so. I mean, I think I probably more recently spent more time kind of thinking about my trunk
Mm-hmm.
than, and the crane's neck's kind of always both like aha and what, like you kind of have it and then you kind of don't.
Yeah,
But I do feel the stiffness. I mean, yeah.
yeah. Do you feel any movement of the energy in that?
Not as much as with the others, but
Uh-huh.
I'm beginning to feel more.
Oh, good.
I think this was just an overwhelming one for a lot of us because it was so different.
Yeah, this is difficult for everyone. I
Uh-huh.
mean,
Right.
it's a complete change. It seems
It's
like,
a complete change.
and yet-
you're just
and
kinda-
yet it's not.
right, because you still have to breathe. You still have to feel the energy.
Good. So just do one circle. Oh, well, do the transition from one side to the other. That's what I want.
Right, 'cause and I do have a question though. When I
Yeah.
transition from 6 to 7,
Yeah.
because I kind of feel like, well, you just kind of end and then you're
So
make sure you're in Crane's neck, and then I kind of
So you're inhaling, you're exhaling.
6 to 7.
Oh, one
6
more.
to 7.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Exhale. I knew there's something wrong there.
Uh-huh.
Inhale. Exhale. Inhale.
Yep. Okay.
So you use the exhale to extend the neck
Yep.
and bend the spine
Yep.
or not bend the spine, extend the spine and be ready to go into the movement.
Right. No, I've been doing it from that angle, so that's
Okay. Good. Relax the arms and hands.
I know I'm not relaxed right now.
Well, no, you're on the spot. Okay. So I don't think I've made anybody else do this, but I want you to
Oh,
do the closure.
Oh, have you made other people do that? Okay, I'm just kind of, where was I?
So that was pretty good. You're inhaling down here. You want to exhale, and you want to round this corner. And you, I'm doing that wrong.
What are you doing from, yeah,
Yeah.
we're trying to go from 7 to closure,
Yeah, oh,
not 6 to 7 to closure.
sorry.
Okay, from
about
7
that.
to closure, so, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh.
Exhale,
yeah,
and then inhale, and you want to get that rounding here. And this is an exhale. I'm doing
No.
it. I'm doing it.
No,
I
we're
can't
trying to
even
go
do the
out, we're
closure.
trying to
I
do-
know.
okay. Alright, so we end,
I'm thinking too much.
yes, okay, David, I'll help you here.
Good.
The
It-
teacher
so
becomes the student.
we exhale up, inhale. Yeah, inhale and then exhale and inhale down and
Mhm.
exhale to
Yep.
the
Oh, I got it.
Lagons connecting. Yeah.
Yep.
Any other questions for you at the moment?
No, I have the tape now. No, thank you. I mean, that was good.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else have comment? Yeah.
And on the 7,
Yeah.
I've seen her going kind of forward and backward.
Mm.
Is that what we're doing, sort of? I mean, you didn't call on us. So.
Well, you are. Yeah, there is a little circularity
Mhm.
to this movement, but the weight is not changing
No, yeah.
much on my feet. I mean, there's a
Mhm.
slight difference of pressure
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
from side, but yes, there is but there's no movement here.
No. No.
'Cause it's all- yeah.
It's all from the midriff, which is not what we usually do.
No, right.
Did you have other?
No.
Okay. Bill or Bill, anything for you guys?
Well, I was actually going to ask about the transition between 7 and the close, but you got there. The other question I had was right at the beginning from Wuji into number 2. My hands, I'm sure, are don't do the same thing twice in a row. So I'm looking for exactly what happens in just the second or two from Wuji to
Mm.
the beginning of 2.
So when you have stepped out and come into your basic position,
Yeah,
armpits open, quad open but not fully extended,
right.
um, and it's just a bending and twisting in.
Okay.
Um,
I think I was trying to add some rounded kind of
well,
maneuver.
I'm when I start into that, I don't go.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
There is a little rounding here into that.
Okay. Okay. That's what I
Absolutely.
wanted to know. Thank you.
Sure.
The rounding doesn't always happen on the plane you expect it to.
Mm.
Like the rounding between 5 and 6 is
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yep.
is going this way instead of, I'm not sure what I think it should be doing, but it's not a it's not a loop here on the side.
Yeah. Well, and the rounding of the transitions is what works best for you. So I'm maybe giving you suggestions here, but if there is some subtler way or other way that it works better for you, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm.
Anything for you, Mr. Bynum?
I just comment that there were many good things for me in that. The biggest perhaps was the 4-5 transition, uh, going down and down, but that 5 is, smaller than 4 in terms of the C curve being the only thing that brings you down. And I didn't mean to make a bad
I know, it's like a
pun there.
bumper sticker. C curve is the only thing that brings
But
you down.
uh,
Hippie.
so you're going down and saving down to get to the transition into 5, where you're still going down, and I've always thought of it, or for a while I was thinking of it as the arms coming up, but now it's real clear the arms aren't coming up. You're C curving to have the arms focus on the middle dantian.
Yep.
Uh, and to not look like the Hunchback of Notre Dame when you're doing that transition is tricky. So,
You don't want it to look like that, no.
I mean, saving the down. So what I'm saying is, it was good how you pointed out very explicitly how you need to save the
Mm.
down part in the last part of
Mhm.
4.
Yep.
So your transition, your last 4 posture is a lot different than your next to the last 4 posture going down.
And your first 5 is subtly different than your second 5.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think as you were saying that, I was thinking, well, this is not new, but we understand it in a bigger picture.
Yeah.
Right? So we know more. So it's like now there's a place for understanding all of that in a different
good.
way. I feel like
Yeah.
that was kind of as you were saying that. It's like, oh yeah. And yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Good.
Good. Yeah.
On what I'm doing 5, my arms are going up because the energy's still going up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that I'm not coming to my center,
No, you're not going down
and
to
I'm not
your
coming to my middle energy, and I'm going right out into the world.
Yeah, indeed. So,
Not always that far.
right. Yeah.
yeah. Ideally.
How
but-
far is your yes?
Well, if you can get it so that it goes into the side channels, that's a good start. Good. Any other thoughts or questions at the moment? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. No.
Good week,
Next
everyone.
it's breathing.
Next week it's breathing.
I'm gonna try to keep doing that.
Yes, please do.
We can breathe before next week, right?
Yeah. You can keep on breathing past next week even.
We hope.
Well, indeed.
Bye,
Good
everyone.
week.
Bye.
Bye.
Carol. You got up too early
Well,
with your headache.
mhm.
5 is early.
So, I will work on whatever you feel like working on, but I'm not gonna initiate
You're not gonna
anything.
try to initiate.
And who knows, sometimes being in this kind of
Fog.
state, it works better, because then my body takes over.
You're not
Right.
thinking as much. The thinking stops.
Yeah.
In a way.
You don't have to be distracted by reading things on the walls.
Yeah. The birds. I
That's
can
when
see
you
the
don't have
birds.
as much
I
reading.
do not hear the birds, and the workman is quiet or gone or something.
What are they doing to your house?
He was putting the air conditioners in the second floor.
Oh.
And now he's painting the deck.
Ah,
Oh, nice.
We did preparation about 2 weeks ago, and the
Then it got
had-
cold.
the weather has not allowed him to come back and paint until now.
No. Oh my God.
and the railing, is that for the deck? The two circular things?
Oh, the two circular?
Circular rods that he was showing Jane as a king.
Oh, those are the railings for the side. You might not have noticed they were not there, but they had their finish had deteriorated significantly. They needed to be sanded and refinished. So he took them home to do them rather than try to do them out.
Kinda
There.
cold.
And they haven't been done for a very long time because I did them the last time they were done.
Yeah, summer's coming and there's more of those things to do. My sister
Yeah.
visited and she's like, "You have things in your attic," and I said, "Yes, there's squirrels."
Ah,
Oh,
All over the. Well, luckily our attic is in pieces because the house was added on so many times. There's the main attic, then there's the attic for the kind of front part, and then there's another one,
and then there's tower.
and then there's the tower. And it's kind of, she was in the side bedroom, I guess, and yeah, because there's some rotten wood, and they made it more. You know, they probably just ate a little bit more of it, and gotta get them out, and then gotta get a carpenter in. Yeah, that's a task that we were
Yeah,
supposed to have done last year, and Rick just kind of. He's not good at these.
We-
Initiating these things.
we at least don't have squirrels. We have had some mice, although not so many this year.
We have a little, yeah, we've got a mouse problem right now. We have 2 cats, and we're like, "Hey,
Right,
do your
exactly.
job." We can tell they know because they sit in the kitchen,
Yep.
but there's like, yeah, the other cat is a real mouse. So,
Anyway,
I mean, I did try more to practice. It Gates is to practice gods this week because I am struggling with the pacing.
Mhm.
So and it was another one of those crazed, busy weeks with family and all that. So I did very little of where we were last time. Still trying to make sure I'm not just rushing through.
Ah,
So I'm afraid I don't have enough to have questions. I guess is what I'm saying,
Okay.
since there's
Well,
probably
why don't you just-
Thursday since I last did it.
okay.
Maybe Friday, but not Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, or Tuesday. I had to go to the doctor yesterday morning. It's like just life gets in the way.
Yeah, it does.
Especially when
Um,
you're not well and you're also over. Everybody's bugging me for things I've done.
You know, I don't know whether I've said this to some people and not to others, and it's a suggestion which I found extremely helpful. This is from Bill Ryan, who's one of Bruce's senior disciples. But I did a number of workshops with him, weekend workshops with him, over a 3-year period. But he suggested about practice that you commit to doing 1 minute a day. And if 1 minute is all you can do, that's fine. But do the 1 minute. And
And it grows.
we all have 1 minute.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
And even if you just repeat one posture twice or whatever, and very often you'll do a little bit more.
Kind of hard to. Okay. That's 1 minute is the beginning, the first.
Yes.
But you will more
That's
likely.
what you
I
said.
had been doing a very short gods of 6 each.
Mhm.
And that was good because I was at least doing that. And then I'd often go, oh, I can do a few more, or I can, or I'll go back and kind of practice that one thing I noticed I really
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
do well. I do need to do that. No, I think that's a good idea to just have at least something. 1 minute feels very short, but
Well, yeah.
better.
even if it's 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, but those doing 6 of each, and of course I was doing them too fast.
Because there was a phone call coming.
Not because my phone's like meh, meh, meh. But and not doing anything else. I have to be like awake enough,
Yeah.
but not too awake, because then other things start in on me.
Yeah.
Or just getting up early enough to do it before those people don't call me before 7:30
Well,
usually.
if you haven't been up too late the night before.
I can't. Yeah, I've been pretty tired, so I'm not.
It's just but I just found that, you almost never stop with 1 minute. So
Yeah.
you do.
That's right. No, I
You
think
do.
that's true. If you can get to,
There was. It was yesterday. I think it was. I rode my bikes,
Mhm.
so watched a lecture while I rode my bike, and then went to do the form, and I just. But if I thought of it in terms of 1 minute, okay, what can I do in 1 minute?
what is the one thing? Yeah.
What, just
The one thing I did find, and I did do this earlier this week, is it's beautiful out. I'll go out and I'll do it just in the backyard. Just like don't get too heady about where should I. Just go out and do it. You got a backyard.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
stand there. I can face east. I can see the sun's coming up. Or it's already up by then. But then I will tend to do it a little longer. I'm away from the phone. I can't hear anything anyway other than the birds, and that's okay. So I did.
The other issue is don't look at the garden.
Well, luckily our garden's way up above, right? Although the strawberries are right there.
Yeah, don't look
Asking for my attention.
Like Shelley used to like doing it outside, except she had to. Okay,
Well, Shelley
I'm going
was
to
like,
walk around
like
the
there's a
yard
pot
and
and
notice
stuff.
everything, and then I'm going to practice.
No.
Yeah.
But no, she's a much better gardener than I am, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like doing that on the deck.
I do too. Yeah. So,
Yeah. So what should we do?
why don't you just flow through
Sure.
the second paragraph?
You wanna do that, Carl?
I'm going to go up to the washroom.
Okay.
Okay.
I can wait. I think that with parts of the second paragraph, because I'm kind of trying to remember it all again, and some of it is that I'm still at that. Well, I think you can kind of break me of this. I'm still at that stage sometimes where I'm like, do I have the basics? And when you have the basics, you don't really have the basics, right?
Because then you're just kind of jutting your hand out, or you're just not really using the energy. You're not really
Yeah.
making all the movement. So I think that's without enough practice. Oh, I also can't do it in these shoes. Without enough practice, I'm kind of like, oh, I kind of remember the form, and that the kinda is the operative word, and that's not okay. I have to understand that, because otherwise I won't do it right.
Yeah.
Just to get to the basics, then I won't be doing it with all of the
Well, and
moves that I really should be. Yes.
that's part of the problem with your very busy schedule.
Right. The busiest. Yeah. No, the busy schedule. I'm still trying to deal with. I know, and I don't know when that's going to stop. I heard some horrible rumors yesterday on a meeting that. Well, I'll just share one of them that. His committee around the Insurrection Act was supposedly finished by last week, and everybody's like, "Oh God, what's he gonna call?" But he needs an excuse that on the anniversary of George Floyd's murder, he's gonna pardon his murderer. I'm not sure that's true, but it came from somebody I trust. She said it at a meeting. She heard it from somebody who works in a congressional office. Is there a rumor? And that will cause an uprising, because black folks in particular will be furious, and then he can enact the Insurrection Act because they're riots.
Yeah.
And the National Guard will be called out, and then or nationalized, or whatever. Somebody said yesterday we have to go back and read Project 2025. And then also the other piece, and take it with a grain of salt. That one I take more seriously though, because that is kind of really awful, evil thing.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Oh, the other one was that one of the reasons they seem to be really trying to push Pete Hegseth out this time and not defend him as much as they did the last time, is that he doesn't want to call up the guard. That he doesn't want to use the Insurrection Act. But that also the Kristi Noem thing. Now this is getting too conspiratorial, I think. The stealing of her bag is that she's also not behaving. So it's like, oh my God. Okay, let's just work on what we can, and not on every crazy idea. Right?
Yeah. And there are a lot of them.
And there's too many, but I do worry about the George Floyd thing. But anyway, I'll throw it in the car.
Well, the other one that I heard
Oh God.
was that he was going to ban Tai Chi, Kung Fu, and another martial arts.
Is too Chinese?
Hmm?
Is too Chinese? Okay, I'm moving this because you're gonna spill it. I can tell the top doesn't always work well because
Ban it how? That nobody's allowed to play it anywhere?
well, it's kind of like Falun Gong is banned in China, right?
In China?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but we're becoming authoritarian. I know. How do you ban? Like, what? He's got to come in the basement. That's kind of where all the underground. That's why it's called the underground.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think that seems unlikely to
He
me.
can't ban it all. He can
says
ban it.
so much shit.
Yeah.
He can ban it in schools, though. He can ban it in public buildings. He can ban it in.
Yeah.
That's I mean, well, he does these executive orders. Then people start responding. People start freaking out. They haven't all been able to go even through the courts to kind of say you can't do that because there's so much going into the courts but that's the intention.
Yeah.
The intention is to flood it, to create chaos, to get through what you can, to say look over there while you're doing some of the nasty stuff over
really
here.
bad stuff over here.
So yes, but I think that, and I yesterday in a conversation with someone I was doing a little organizing, we were just talking about the fact that people are freaking out and people need a practice to center themselves. Like people are becoming more aware of how unbalanced And I say that as somebody who, is trying very hard to do the work and not like freak out,
Yeah.
right? Like de-escalate. We are not going to get anything done if we are doing it out of a panic.
Yep.
People, and it's not the worst it's ever been, and people in the world have gone through far worse
Yeah.
and have survived it.
Yep.
Tell us the stories.
There's a website that somebody from All Souls posts. I think it's carry water, chop wood, and it lists all the good things. And there are amazingly, not surprisingly, a lot of good, positive things that people are doing
Right,
all around,
That's
mostly
right.
around the country, but somewhat in the world.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's that, Gandhi talked about 3 elements of social change, and one is the protest or the resisting of authority in his case, right? The other is constructive program. Like, what do you do? What else? Like, okay, the government's not here. What do we do? How do we do mutual aid? How do we do that? Right? And the other is really how do we take care of ourselves? How do we have those kinds of practices? He spoke of it in varying different ways. But it is that internal
Mhm.
kind of strength and spirituality and balance there, right?
Mhm.
So it is that there are those 3 elements, right? So I think that what is it? Carry water, chop wood,
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
or yeah, it's not chop water. No, carry water. It has to be carry water.
Yeah, yes, but it
'Cause
could be chop
It
wood,
could be
carry
one.
water. Chop wood, carry water.
That's a kind of traditional phrase.
Yeah. No, I remember a friend telling me, and I think I didn't understand it because I was far too young at the time, or only in my 20s. Of, the Vietnamese peasant who the bombs would come and make these major craters, and he'd just get his hoe out and begin to kind of heal the earth and do
Yeah.
what needed to be done. Like what, like that for him was the thing that needed to be done, the thing that created balance.
Yep.
Even though it seems like, yeah.
The other thing we've
Shoveling shit against the tide or whatever they say. Yeah, feels overwhelming.
Starting at All Souls is a everyday spiritual practice. We've had one session of just talking about it, and there's a book by a bunch of UU ministers with just all kinds of different ways of doing everyday spiritual practice, from everyday meditation or Tai Chi,
Yeah, right.
but also gardening and quilting and things that one doesn't necessarily think of as a spiritual practice.
Right. There's a friend of mine wrote a book called Everyday Resistance. But I bet there's a lot of overlap in
Oh, I bet
between
there is.
the 2 of them, right?
Yeah.
In terms of, because resistance is also that building, not just that stopping. Stopping someone else.
And there's always the 365 DAP.
Yep.
That doesn't speak to me.
Oh,
Really?
interesting.
It's,
Oh,
it's
wow.
interesting that, like the whole I Ching thing that
Mhm.
Jay did, which I found fascinating, and the numbers and all that. And when I got to the words, it was like, these are just words.
But then they're not words.
But they never
If
got
they
to,
can be put into words, they're not words.
they never got to be not words for me. It was just
Yeah.
because
But we have to find what speaks to us.
That doesn't.
do.
That doesn't.
You do.
That's partly.
That's
why
interesting. I've been reading that book for
Yeah.
25 years or whenever it came out. And I didn't read it for, probably 3 or 4 years. I actually put it down. And I started again this year reading it every day, and I am blown away by it. It really, every day there is something meaningful.
And it's different each time you read it, but it's that's the thing. Yeah, I need to get back to doing that. There's also another, St. Francis House did this practice of, it's called Lives of the Saints, but it's basically 365. And they're not all Catholic saints, right? They're like people who have done good things. And it's like never more than a page. It was written by Robert Ellsberg, Dan Ellsberg's son, who became a
Yeah.
Catholic and was influenced by Dorothy Day and the Catholic worker movement. And it's So it's kind of like you can find something, for a lot. So it is. It's what your practice and
It's what works for you.
what works for you. And sometimes, and I find different things. I mean, as I say that, I hadn't picked that book up in a while, but then then you're like, oh, yeah, maybe I will. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Pope Francis is probably in there already. I don't know. I heard one quick thing. I heard, people. I had the radio on a little bit in the car coming in. People like, oh, I'm praying for Pope Francis, and Nancy Pelosi was interviewed right after because she met him many times, and they said, "Are you praying for him?" She says, "I'm praying to him," which is a very Catholic thing. But then, of course, everybody's like, "I wonder what she's asking for." J.D. Vance was the last person he saw. A real transformation. J.D. Vance will become a real Christian. All right, what are we doing? We're going to start at the beginning of
Over
two.
here.
Over here.
Yeah.
I have to remember where we're going.
Yeah, take a moment maybe to breathe and just
Stop thinking about it.
stop thinking about all that other junk.
May I suggest you start over there, so you don't
Yeah.
have an obstacle course
Because?
as you get back, because we're going over there.
That's true. I don't
Yeah.
want
If you're
to.
here,
Yeah, I'll start here. Okay, I
Yeah.
hear what you're saying. So
Yep,
I don't.
that's
I just.
good.
I'm always trying to avoid that pole.
right.
Not successfully, obviously.
It seemed to me we had less difficulty with follow and focus shifting backward. And one of the things that I was thinking about that is that this is another out.
Mm.
This is not an up,
Mm.
which tends to send us backwards. So if you really aware, I mean, you're sending that energy out. It is downward in focus, but it's not
Yeah.
it's not up,
Yeah. Okay.
or it's out.
Yeah.
Sort of
I hear
like
what you're trying to
three.
say. Yeah. I feel that difference. Yeah. Yep.
In monkey, the strike is to the face, and the upper hand. You were down at chest level.
Yeah, I was. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Gargoyles. when you've done offering incense,
Mm-hmm.
there's first a shift back into the right foot, and then a rotation left to step back, and a rotation right to shift and complete, and then continue the right to step back, and then left to complete. So the gargoyles has a
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I put a couple of twists in there.
Yeah. It wasn't
I was
the right
trying,
one,
but
so.
I didn't feel like they were the right ones, but
That's right. Kind of like, oh yeah.
okay. So shift back.
Yep.
And then
Rotate left to set your foot back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Rotate left. You want to step the left foot back. Right, good. And then continue. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
and then turn left. You don't go forward, you stay back weighted.
And then.
That's fine. Don't-
Let's take a breath, Gail. We're done. Good.
That's probably enough. You, I'm sure, are full already.
I'm full. Yeah, I'm full. I think Carol started a little. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
good.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Good class. Good class.
Indeed,
Yep.
a learning process.
A learning process. It's important. Keeps us alive. Keeps us going. All right. It's gonna be a beautiful day.
Yeah,